Thank you for joining Wars of the Rosies as we continue with part 15, Mother of the World, from A Rosicrucian Speaks by Joseph J. Weed. Mother of the World, Toronto, September 1956. Let us hail the Mother of the World. Let us raise our consciousness up to the Mother of the World. Let us all in reverence dare to send our thoughts to the Great Mother, for she is the source of our being, the Great Mother of us all, the Virgin Mother symbolized for us in the Mother of Buddha and in the Mother of Jesus the Christ. From her great being have been forged the beauties of the world about us, the greenery of the fields and forest, the stark gray of the mountains and the blue of the sky. Her voice is heard in the whispering of the wind and the rushing of the waters. For one of her names is Mother Nature. Long ago, when the human race was young, the Great Mother made herself known to her children, and the mysteries of nature were an open book. But at the time of the sinking of Atlantis, the libraries that had been taken with this knowledge by material-minded people were so great that the Great Mother symbolically veiled her face. She is now portrayed in the tarot cards and in the inspiring paintings of the great masters as a seated female figure with the upper half of her face veiled. The true knowledge and understanding of nature has now been withheld from men for many thousands of years, and up until quite recently we have seen and been conscious of only the surface of things in the world about us. Even our own natures are unfamiliar to us, and though we have assiduously studied the laws of nature and have made great progress in certain directions, the basic essentials are still unknown except to a very few. Because of the vastness of the earth and the sky and the sun and the heavenly bodies in relation to ourselves, we are inclined to view these aspects of nature as inanimate and unintelligent matter. Actually, each of these physical manifestations is possessed of a life and an intelligence, very similar to our own, but on a larger and grander scale. Just as the ego, the real self, inhabits and gives life and means to our bodies, so in like manner there exists a great intelligence which gives life and meaning to the planet on and in which we live, whose life and energy we partake of in sustaining our own existence, and in the words of the Bible, in whom we live and move and have our being. At one time in the early history of the race, before mankind had, through its low thoughts and base emotions, beclouded the aura of this planet, men's eyes were open and they could penetrate the veil between the physical and psychic world. Men were taught by advanced beings from the psychic realm, and they were able to observe the underlying unity of all life through the etheric activity, which interpenetrates all and which then visible to their sight. But the time came when mankind, through willful breaking of the law and overindulgence in the lower aspects of the material elements of its makeup, lowered its vibrations to a point where the psychic realm was no longer visible. It is said of this event that this was the time when the Grand Mother veiled her face. It occurred when the great continent of Atlantis was allowed to sink beneath the purifying waters of the ocean in order that the lower grade materialism of its people be prevented from spreading further and probably causing the destruction of the planet itself. Then it was that the Great Mother withdrew from the minds and understanding of men the knowledge of her nature, but the memory of her still remained and has been preserved in all times and by all peoples down to the present day. All religions present a feminine aspect of the deity, but sometimes under another name. In the Trinity of the Christian religion, she is represented by the Holy Ghost, and in the Rosicrucian teachings, she is the light in the Trinity of life, light, and love. Strangely enough, in the Christian world, she is more truly represented by her symbol, Mary, the Mother of Christ, called the Mother of God. Her memory was also at the basis of cults of Isis and Ishtar, and she has been symbolized in myriads of other personalities as far back as the memory of men can reach. From the time of Atlantis until the present day, a true knowledge of the Mother of the World and an understanding of her nature and has not been permitted to mankind. But today, in our own time, The veil is in the process of being lifted. Once again will men know the mother of the world. Once again will we see her face to face. Gradually will the secrets of nature expose themselves to the understanding heart and the unselfish seeker. And each year will see us moving a step closer to the long-awaited golden age. Let us, if we can understand what is taking place, and if there is anything we can do to speed up the process. In the beginning, the great teachers found it necessary to describe the truths of nature in words that the limited understanding of men could comprehend, in an endeavor to explain the law of manifestation, the law of the triangle. They described it as a family consisting of a father, a mother, and a son. They called this a heavenly family, the Trinity from and by which all that was made, the three-in-one God. One of the characteristics of the physical brain is that it can only understand abstract ideas by means of symbols or by contrast. This has resulted in us placing spirit and matter into diametrically opposing positions. Spirit was described as God, the Father, the active creative ingredient, and matter was described as a mother, the passive, nourishing, sustaining force. Unfortunately, this bred an ignorant consciousness, a fanatical conception of matter as something inferior, whereas we know that spirit and matter are one, opposite poles of the same manifestation. The entire manifested universe, visible and invisible, from the highest to the lowest, reveals to us the infinite aspects of radiant matter imbued with spirit. For it is true that where there is no matter, however tenuous, however rare and fine, there is no life and no spirit. Today it is no longer necessary for us to retain the father-mother symbolism except insofar as it has an emotional appeal. For it is comforting to place our trust in an all-powerful father or in an understanding, compassionate mother. Most of us are capable of seeing and understanding the manifested universe as the vibratory force field that it is because it is symbolized for us so well in the familiar laws of electricity. We all know that there can be no manifestation of an electrical current unless there is both a positive pole and a negative pole present. That one pole or aspect is as good as another and may even be interchanged under certain circumstances. Thus is the edge of the veil of the Great Mother being lifted. But there is so much yet to learn, an interesting truth about the body of God, the great energy field in which we live and from which we derive sustaining life, is that the virgin elements of it, those still unformed, respond quickly and readily to our will. Actually, all elements of it respond to our minds and wills, and in this we have been created in God's image, because we can move and control His body in the same way He can, but only to move a limited degree. All elements of nature respond to man's will, but the virgin or unformed elements respond quickly, while those already arranged in form follows the pattern created by a mind and will, respond more slowly. Actually, we consciously direct and manipulate these elements all the time. We do it clumsily and unskillfully, it is true, and it is probably fortunate for us that we are clumsy because this means that we are seldom successful in achieving our objective. In the present relatively undeveloped state of human ethical standards, most of our creations would be extremely personal and selfish, and many would be harmful to our fellow creatures. Therefore, it is fortunate that our lack of understanding and our lack of skill permits only partial successes, which are often offset by the partial successes of others. Then, too, our creations are limited by our imaginations and our finite experience. Most of us have little or no idea of the vast potential existing all about us, requiring only the application of a well-trained mind and will to bring it into physical manifestation. And here, the words of Jesus the Christ are significant when he said, "Man has seen not, nor has he heard, nor can the mind of man conceive of the wonders the Lord hath prepared for those who love him." Herein are 2 points of importance. First, the vastness of the treasury of wonders and benefits that exist waiting to be tapped and used by those who know how. And second, the fact that only those who love God may learn the secret and acquire the skill. Again, we may look to the words of the Master Jesus for further light. When he was asked what one must do to be saved, he said, "Obey the law." When the questioner persisted and asked, "What is the law?" he answered, "Love the Lord thy God with thy whole heart and with thy whole mind and with all thy strength." And seeing the look on the man's face and reading in his mind that he had no real comprehension of his words, Jesus realized that the love of God is a difficult thing for most men. So he added, helpfully, "Love thy neighbor as thyself." In this, the great teacher told us much, for this is a thing every man can understand. The love of his fellow man. In the end, it is the same as the love of God. This path we are invited to follow by our Rosicrucian teachings, the path of service. For to love our fellow man like ourselves means inevitably to forget ourselves because of our own interest in others. And when we truly forget ourselves, the doorway will open before us. This is the meaning of service and the reason we are urged to follow the path of service. We return thus to the great treasure which exists all about us, in the air, so to speak, the unformed virgin particles of the body of God. These are intelligent and trained to respond to will and to follow patterns created by the mind. When this has been understood and the proper technique acquired, the doorway to the realm of treasure will open. At first, our creations will be material things, material benefits for ourselves and those near us. Gradually, though, these will begin to seem like toys of childhood. We will become bored with them and will seek greater glories in other realms. Our consciousness will then start to expand. We will begin to realize that in this treasure house, the greatest gifts are of an abstract nature, and it is our privilege to manifest and demonstrate these godlike qualities for the benefit of our fellow creatures. For every conceivable quality of God must be manifested in a material way. This means that his love and courage, and power and courtesy, and beauty and understanding, and every other beautiful quality and virtue you can conceive of must be personified and made manifest by a human being. Think of this, fratres and sorors. These are not just words. This is an opportunity and a challenge for every one of you. What great virtue, what quality of God can you bring to living present in the world of men by your thoughts and your actions? It is not too early to start thinking about this. You may not be able to accomplish this today or even tomorrow, but you should soon be aware of the direction in which you are going, towards whichever quality or virtue that most appeals to you and fits your personality and abilities best. All these qualities and virtues already exist inherently in the virgin particles of the body of the Great Mother, waiting there for a human will and a human mind to draw them forth. This is the real reason for the term Virgin Mother, the mother from whose great energy body these pristine, unsullied, unused energy particles may be gathered and shaped into physical or emotional or mental forms in obedience to our wills. At this point you may ask, and rightly so, how may we draw upon this wonderful reservoir of pristine energy substance? Let me give you one simple technique for doing this. It is in your monograms in the early degrees, but many have overlooked or forgotten it. Before describing it, let me caution you that you must be careful to use it only with clean hands and clean heart. With clean hands means that your purpose must be a good one, must hold in no element of harm to another or to yourself, and it must be an unselfish or altruistic objective. With clean heart means that you must be calm and happy at the time you practice this technique. You must experience what we call harmonium. You must be physically rested and experiencing no unpleasant physical sensations. You must be emotionally controlled and calm and not upset, and your mind must be clear and uncluttered of worries or fears. For these reasons and others not so obvious, it is best to practice this exercise early in the morning, as soon as possible after rising from bed. Now here is the exercise. 1. Stand and face the east. If possible, stand before a window facing the east and face the rising sun. 2. Raise your arms wide apart above your head so as to form a huge cup. This is the chalice which you are to fill with the grace of God. 3. Take a deep breath and visualize the living energy of the Great Mother pouring in the form of light, of sunlight if you will, into the cup formed by the outstretched arms. As it fills the cup, the pristine energy should form a great ball of light. 4. Release your breath slowly and sound the as you do so. Mentally visualize the energy in the ball of light as gradually descending into and interpenetrating your entire being. 5. Then as you stand encased in the aureole of light, say softly to yourself, "May the divine energy of the cosmic infuse my being and cleanse me of all impurities of mind and body. May it rise each particle of my physical, emotional, and mental natures to a higher vibratory level and order. O Lord, that I may know Thee better and serve Thee better and become a better instrument in Thy hand." 6. Visualize and actually feel your entire being becoming lighter and brighter and actually being lifted up. 7. Lower your hands. Sound the once again, softly or silently, and dismiss all immediately from your mind. Brighter and sorrows. This simple technique offers a means whereby one may fortify and enlarge the aura, may heal and strengthen the physical body, calm the emotional and clarify the mental natures, and help us contact the cosmic through our souls. And if there is some aspect of the nature of God which we seek to express here on earth in accordance with divine decree, then we may envision that virtue or great idea, and through the virgin energy of the Great Mother which we have drawn into our being, begin to manifest and symbolize that facet of God's nature. Thus today many students are striving to bring into existence on the physical plane the God qualities for which their own nature has the greatest affinity. Some are bringing order into an upset and chaotic world. Others are expressing love where animosity and resentment formerly were dominant. Still others show courage, thus conquering fear. Understanding gradually eliminates intolerance, and light shines where darkness formerly reigned. This then is the great privilege offered to us, the privilege of helping to bring the plan of God into manifestation on earth. We are being taught and trained in order that we may contribute our thoughts and energies to the great cause at its most critical time, that we may learn to use the virgin energies of the Great Mother of the world in this most constructive and fruitful manner, and thus earn for ourselves the privilege of entering the portals of the hierarchy. I pray that each one of you may strive towards and succeed in manifesting in your own being one of the facets of the nature of God. I pray that you are able to exemplify prudence or courage or considerateness or understanding or any other of the great God qualities to the degree that your fellow men will see it and recognize it and benefit by it. Then you will have succeeded. Then your own master will stand at the portals of hierarchy with hands stretched out and say to you, "Welcome, co-worker." Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Rosies. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.